Israel says it's suspending more than 24 humanitarian organisations operating in Gaza for failing to comply with new regulations. Israel claims about 15% of aid groups operating in the Palestinian territory have failed to clarify the roles of some staff, have links with Hamas, or have called for boycotts against Israel. Organisations including Doctors Without Borders and Oxfam will have to cease all operations in the enclave from January the 1st.
Israel has been carrying out smear campaigns and delegitimizing campaigns against humanitarians and civil society for years. This is not something new, but this is kind of at a point where we need aid to access Gaza. People in Gaza are drowning in their tents. We've had a child died of hypothermia last week. So the need is so critical and so urgent that it's coming at a very difficult moment.
Well, for more on this, we are joined by Killeen, who is the Acting Executive Director at MSF in Australia. Thanks so much for your time. First off, how many Gazans has your organisation been supporting, and what does that support look like?
So in 2025 alone, MSF provided over 800,000 outpatient consultations, 100,000 trauma surgeries. We delivered 10,000 babies. So it gives you a sense of the scale of the need that MSF is meeting, but also a sense of the gap that will be created if MSF is no longer allowed to operate in Gaza.
And are you anticipating that MSF will not be able to operate?
At this moment, we are awaiting to hear the outcome of our registration. It is a real concern. 1 in 3 babies are assisted in birth by MSF. You know, I gave you some of those numbers, but it's more than just those numbers. There are people behind that who are reliant on care, not only from INGOs like MSF, but also all other INGOs that are operating in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank at the moment. And if that's no longer available, it is a real concern.
And so the Israeli government says that MSF, among other aid organisations, hasn't complied with its new rules. Which requirements are proving problematic or difficult?
It is quite an opaque process. To understand exactly what the criteria is something that we're continuing to work through. We're continuing to encourage dialogue with the Israeli authorities to try and remain in Gaza. Organisations like MSF exist to deliver impartial, independent, neutral aid. We're experienced in these types of situations. So the ability for us to be there and to continue into 2026, as we've heard, the need is just increasing, is imperative.
I know that one of the rules that aid organisations are pointing to is this one that they must not engage in any activities or criticisms which delegitimise the state of Israel, and the fact that that might have a bit of a murky meaning. What do you take that to mean?
Look, MSF is there to not only provide medical care, but also to bear witness, to speak out on behalf of the patients that we are treating. And we have been vocal about certain things that we've seen. But again, we are independent, neutral, impartial. We will treat anyone who comes to us who needs that care. And that independence and that impartiality is so important. It's even more important as we come into the next 12, 24 months of trying to rebuild Gaza.
And are there concerns as well about the requirement to submit details about staff members working with MSF, and even details about their families, provide identity documents? Does that create concern too?
It does. It's a security risk essentially, and that is not something that we are willing to provide. You know, the safety of our patients and of our staff is paramount to MSF, and this is what we consider when we're going through this registration process.
If MSF is forced to pull its aid operations from Gaza, what will the consequences of that be for the people there?
It will be catastrophic, to be put quite simply. It's absolutely heartbreaking. These are people who, after 2 years of absolute horror, have become completely reliant on international organisations like MSF for aid. We are their lifeline, and if MSF and other organisations like us are no longer there, I just can't tell you how catastrophic that will be.
And I understand there has been some severe weather in Gaza just in the last few days, some downpours that are causing flood risks in the region and making life even more difficult for people there.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you've got people living in tents. You have people who are unable to heal from wounds because they are living in conditions which aren't conducive to that. They're in a horrific winter at the moment. The cruel irony is that this is the time these people need more, not less.
We'll leave it there, but thank you so much, Ashley Killeen, Acting Executive Director at MSF Australia. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.